Good morning, everyone. Welcome to IT Live. I'm Tex Homer. That is Ian Boyd. And we're going to talk the jack role in the Muschamp defense, which is the position Colin Simmons plays. And then we'll flip it over and talk about the defensive end, which Lance Jackson will play. But these are crucial roles and they're exciting roles. And we are just excited to discuss it with you. But head over to Inside Texas, summer sale, 50% off. You'll get the Ultimate Fan Bundle. What that means is you're going to get our board, IT, On3, and Rivals all together. Link in the description down below. All right, Ian. Let's talk the jack position and what we think it'll actually look like in Muschamp. We've gone through some iterations over it, trying to figure out Muschamp's scheme since he's came on. Seems like you're zeroing in a little bit more. What's Muschamp's jack?
It's like a normal edge, I think.
In comparison to what?
In comparison to the more 3-down, mint-heavy Georgia version, where the jack is routinely off the ball and not as featured in his
Pass rushing,
traditional pass rushing role. I think that Smart comes from a little more pure Belichickian model where it's like, hey, we just need versatile linebackers everywhere, edge, end, inside. Those guys should all be versatile and capable of doing lots of stuff. And then when that's true, we can use all kinds of different pressure packages to get to the quarterback as needed with the right package. And then there's the other extreme end where it's like, we're going to put a freak on the edge and just let him tear around the corner after the quarterback. And I think Muschamp is, if those are like an X and Y axis, X and Y is east and west, right?
No, X and Y is vertical. And
okay, what are these two?
You say on a continuum.
On a continuum. It's the Y, right? The Y is
X-axis is the horizontal axis.
Anyway.
Not a math guy. Ian, not a math guy.
He's not as far on that end of the continuum as Smart or Belichick. He still has the like super versatile pass rushing system. He can get pressure he can target weaknesses. He can bring pressure with all sorts of different guys. But he's a little more of like, hey, if I have a freak, I want to put him in position to just go be a freak. And that's going to be a recurring theme at a couple other spots too on the line that we'll get to in future series.
Yeah, we were considering, hey, are they going to play that 3-down in Georgia, the mint front that we talked a lot about? And your attack often comes from what other positions in that system?
They probably will play that. It's just it won't be the main thing in the same way that it is for Georgia.
So who are your sack guys in the 3-down traditionally in Georgia system?
Still the jack some. If there's a particular defensive lineman that's good, then sometimes they can see their numbers boosted. But then, like the inside linebackers are the big
it's really the inside linebackers that they do the coolest stuff with.
They'll often have seasons where it's like if they have really good inside linebackers, then you'll see like the jack have 3 to 5 sacks, the end have 3 to 5 sacks, and then both linebackers have 3 to 5 sacks. And if you think about it, like people hate this because it runs against, like for Texas fans are conditioned to be recruitniks, to get excited about every flashy new athlete and then want to see that particular athlete dominate individually. If you think about it though, just like in a pure hypothetical realm, that Georgia thing where you have like 4 pass rushing threats on the field, that's better.
Right. Especially, yeah, exactly. It's harder to stop. It's harder to remove a singular threat.
Yes.
So that's where, that's the difference. And then we see here Utah Horn. I just don't want to see Simmons dropping back in coverage.
You're going to see Simmons in coverage.
Yeah. You saw Simmons in coverage. You know, it's like that's a normal thing. Dropping an end to the flats is fairly common.
Yeah. They dropped Burke into coverage.
Mm-hmm. And he could volleyball set whatever was going.
Should have done it more, honestly. I felt like they never really leaned into that stuff as much as they should have. But yeah, you're going to see that some, but it's not going to be. I think there's a big difference between Simmons drops into coverage some, and then you just don't see him get counting stats at all, and it feels like he's not having a huge impact on the game. And then there's Simmons drops into coverage some, but he also shreds teams, and he gets a sack strip in one game and 2 tackles for loss in another.
And there's also, I think, dropping him into coverage can often be conflated and even accurately as a form of passivity. But if you're dropping Simmons so you can fire a sick blitz opposite side and get a sack too, that's going to give you a different feel than like, we're dropping 8 and we're just hanging out. So there's also those like sim blitzes and stuff like that are deadly. So when you see him drop, just try to pause it when you're watching it live and see if it's true passivity or if they're dropping him because they need to get numbers to the attack elsewhere.
I bet you that people don't even realize it's happening most of the time, because I was at the spring game and I wasn't totally sure what the pressure was on a bunch of plays, but I would see Rasheem Biles flying into the backfield. And then when I had a chance to rewatch it, I was like, oh, this is just the basic drop the jack into coverage, bring the will or the money, bring the money on a late timed blitz. And so they actually had Wesley dropping into coverage like several times.
Yeah.
And you would never watch that game and be like, man, they were dropping Wesley into coverage way too much. Just let him go eat. Like he ate.
Well, and sometimes too, it's like the problem is the disaster doesn't happen so people don't see it. But sometimes you're dropping to the boundary so you can keep a one-on-one cap on a boundary receiver, but still get that high-low. And the receiver didn't get the ball because we covered it well. So it feels like nothing happened and it was done for no reason. But it took away that boundary receiver. They didn't throw it, so it didn't become concrete. But there's plenty of valid uses to the drop. But ultimately, I think the heart of the message that fans say is accurate. You want to see Colin Simmons, the pass rusher, pass rush. So I'm not going to ding him for that. But I always want to be wary of just like there's plenty of valid ways to drop a jack or an edge into coverage. But ultimately, we want to see Colin Simmons' special superpower, which is getting after quarterbacks. And you think we'll see that more within the Muschamp world? Yeah,
I've been we've been trying to figure this out for since December when he was hired, right? And the first thing we got was, well, Muschamp, he may not be all the way in on Smart and Schumann's way of doing things just because he did things their way when he was a co-coordinator focusing on the safeties. So it could be different. That was our first thought. Then we had more information and reason to think, no, he might just be pivoting Texas towards the 3-down style, and that he believes in that now more than he does the 4-down. Because Muschamp used to be like a 4-down and then single high when he could get away with it. That was like more his thing. And it's like, no, it seems like he sees 3 down and 2 high is the better path now. Things have proceeded. We've heard a little bit about what they've worked on in the spring. And then you just look at the roster and you're like, if you don't put Jackson and Simmons and Umezulu and Vosick on the edges, like you're just being stubborn and dumb.
Yeah, you have an embarrassment of riches.
You have the ideal 4-down group
with the cool ability to be effective in 3-down too. So it's like you have the off speed pitch that you want there. So you have the best of both worlds. But I think leaning towards a pure containment rush outside of tackles is the coolest way to go with the flexibility.
Yes.
Who is best for that flexibility? Explain the difference between a 4-down end and a 3-down end.
Why are we going to that? That's like the next article.
Well, you can talk. We can talk just broadly before.
Okay.
Yeah, we're not necessarily talking strong side yet.
All right. So your jack is your jack. That's probably the most useless thing I could have said.
That was correct. That's correct. Technically correct.
The jack is an edge. whether you're 3 down or 4 down, he is a hybrid edge. He is like they came up with the term edge so that people would stop having to type out hybrid in linebacker in articles.
Yeah.
I don't know who decided to make it all caps. That was stupid.
Yeah, it's weird.
I don't do that. I don't play that. But your edge in any defense that has an edge, what that's supposed to mean is that this guy is light on his feet, fast, athletic, maybe one of the best all-around athletes on the defense, in that 6'2 to 6'5, 230 to 270 pound range, usually on the lighter side in college. And they can drop into coverage. They can play in space, see the ball, and close like a linebacker underneath. But they can also line up on the line of scrimmage. And when they're doing that, it's usually either to set a wide edge. Muschamp, smart, they'll ask a little more of them than that. But set a wide edge of like, don't let the running back get outside of here on a run. And then tear around the corner on any drop back pass and go smack the quarterback from behind like Lawrence Taylor. Lawrence Taylor is a great starting point. Lawrence Taylor is the I'm trying to
prototype.
He's the prototype. I was trying to think of the evolutionary term for like when a breakthrough species occurs.
Yeah.
Lawrence Taylor was like the breakthrough edge. He like invented the position. Or like, ironically, because Bill Belichick later sort of de-emphasized it, Bill Parcells and Bill Belichick together created the modern edge as a way to weaponize Lawrence Taylor. So that guy's, whether you're 4 down or 3 down, he's kind of the same. The real pivot point is the defensive end opposite. In a 4 down, that defensive end is basically like a traditional defensive end. He's got to set the edge. He may spin or slide inside sometimes to slant or stunt or whatever. He'll rush the passer around the corner some. But his main job is like be strong and sturdy on the perimeter. Don't let them run on. Don't let them like collapse the edge and let their running back get an angle to the perimeter. People will often play him to the wider side of the field so that he can try to deny access on bounced runs to the outside. And he also, depending on the specific type of 4 down front, he might have to deal with a tight end and an offensive tackle working in conjunction against him.
In theory, he needs to be a bigger, stronger edge or defensive end than the weak side.
Yeah, the edge is, they're both ends. The edge is a little more pass rush oriented and coverage oriented. And the end is more run stopping oriented. Now, in a 3 down, your defensive end becomes almost a de facto defensive tackle. In a 3 down front, you're sliding him further inside. He's either like a 5 technique where he's got the tackle and the offensive tackle on the tight end, potentially double teaming him on every play, or he's even further inside in like a 4-eye or a 4 or even a 3 technique. Yeah, there's the end. Here's the end in a 4-eye technique. And if it's a pass, he's got to work outside of the offensive tackle to contain the rush. And if it's a run, he's got to defend that B gap. And if that guard comes to double team him, he's got to stand his ground with the tackle and the guard trying to trade or combo him. So your 3 down defensive end is usually going to go more like 6'2", maybe, but 6'2" to 6'6", whatever. And then depending on the dude.
In a perfect world, like 260 minimum.
Yes, that's the number, I think. 260 minimum. Now, Will Anderson did it at 245.
Right.
He's a freak.
Yeah.
He's a rare specimen. Usually, like teams will play 300 plus pound dudes. 6'5". You could see a 6'5", 310 pound dude at this kind of spot in a lot of 3 down defenses. It becomes extremely blurred, the difference between this end and a 3 technique tackle. And if you're playing like pure mint all the time, they're almost the exact same dude. Tom Herman, because they majored in this, Tom Herman used to say, like people were asking him about a recruiting class that he had, And he's like, the great thing about our system is that we don't really have defensive ends and nose tackles. We're recruiting all just big, strong dudes, and they might play any of the three positions, and that doesn't make a difference. Just whatever fits for us. Kind of like the inside zone of defensive line.
Is that why we didn't have defensive ends when PK showed up?
Okay, yes, that is why they didn't have. I mean, they could have still recruited ends, and they just kind of didn't, except for Osai. Yeah.
Hurt us later on, but that's the point. So we have Lance Jackson who could play outside in traditional 4 down. And then what's he at? What's he listed at? 275?
270 something.
Okay, so he gained the right weight. That was one of the first, when we thought it was going to be predominant men, one of the first things we're like, Lance Jackson has to put on weight. And he did. And he did. And that's why 2 is like, okay, is that a check for Mint as well? So he put on the weight, and even though he's 275 is big enough and but it's not 290. He has the raw athleticism to get 275 pounds up to speed enough for the mass times acceleration formula to be equal to a 290 or who moves slower.
Yeah. Jackson has, he's kind of like Will Anderson in that he has freakish natural power. So like if anybody played high school sports or whatever, and they remember in the weight room, there'd be like the running back would squat as much or more as the offensive lineman. That's what I'm talking about with like natural power, not massive muscles that generate tremendous power at any size.
And the length required.
Jackson has that. He's also enormous.
Right.
But he's not just enormous. He's way more powerful than most 270-pound even football players. So Jackson is 6'5", 272. He's a great fit for this. I don't know what's going on down there.
That's your
Zena is 6'5", 265, which is
right at the low end of it.
Right at the low end. Vosick, I think, could play here some. I bet he does a little bit. He's listed at 6'5", 256. Now that he's actually healthy this offseason, maybe he can actually be more like 270 come the season. I don't remember
I doubt it. Most of your weight gain is in the spring, but
it depends. Well, it just depends on. I don't know. It depends on how they lift in the summer, and a few things. I saw a quote from our old friend Gary Patterson about how they had structured the USC offseason where they were able to get like multiple lifting sessions in between like installs and things. Caught my eye.
Well, it's good. Well, traditionally is like all your weight gains in the winter, and then it's a game of attrition, especially in the Texas heat, how much we run. It's like you're not really going to put on significant weight, but it's like you got to find ways. And even talking to Drew and Jet, they're like, it's all done in the winter. Because I was asking them, can this guy get bigger? Can that guy get bigger? And they're like, probably not. So you kind of you might actually have lighter than what you're listed.
Right not with that attitude.
Yeah, well, it's hard to do, man. To get the skills in and the weight gain, especially when we're running in 105-degree heat more than.
Well, the sprint. It's not like they're running half marathons. They do sprinting, and sprinting is good for building muscle.
But it's not sprinting like run across the field once. Like they're doing tons of sprints.
Yeah, but this used to be a trick of Kazadi, I think his name, in Baylor. They used to do tons of intensive sprint training in the off season. And he was like, it's amazing. It releases when you work your biggest muscle groups, like your glutes and your hamstrings and your thighs, then it releases natural HGH in your body that your body just produces. And it helps you build up. That's why people say don't skip leg day, because it helps you build muscle everywhere when you work out your biggest muscle groups and get those juices flowing. If you were also injecting HGH,
that would also be nice. Yeah,
that also helps.
That would be helpful too.
That'd be a great thing to say if you were injecting actual HGH.
It's that damn sprinting.
Well, we sprint a lot, so
yeah, we sprint a lot.
Maybe y'all should sprint more. I don't know.
It's not. They're going to be burning thousands a day. So really, just one solid, 11 p.m. trip to Whataburger daily can make a lot, make up for that. But I don't anticipate significant size change from now into the season, but these guys are kind of unique. Like Vosic, without being hurt, Vosic's a unique athlete. Zena's a unique athlete.
Zena, I don't think will. I think Zena's a little more of a hard gainer, kind of like a Minahu. I think he will eventually get big, but I think it'll be like time before that happens.
Yeah.
Vosic, I kind of think Vosic. I wonder because he keeps getting injured and stuff that would like prevent him from doing good lifting.
Right.
So I wonder if him being healthy for any amount of time could allow him to.
He definitely has the frame to get a lot bigger.
They say that he is moving insanely fast.
Great.
That he's healthy. My guess is that, and people forget because a guy gets injured, he doesn't flash on the field, and you just forget about him for years and go on to the next freshman, sophomore. When Vosic first came to Texas, they called him Baby Bosa.
Mm-hmm.
And they were like, this dude is like the truth.
Even though normally players do get recruited over, but Vosic has captured my mind, but also the fans. The fans still ask about. He's one of the rare examples where the fans are still very curious about his progression.
Oh, really? Okay, so
that's the one, like the one guy that's been hurt and hasn't been able to display a lot that I still get asked about.
Well, he's a hometown kid, I guess. So, and his dad's a coach, I think, at Westlake, or he was. Maybe partially responsible for some of the success they've had there in the last. They've been unreal at cranking out amazing defensive linemen with Salazar, and I think maybe his dad gets some credit too. I think Vosic is probably your number 2 jack behind Simmons. I think he might play some end as well, but I think he's the number 2 jack.
All right, so you think Lance and Zena over at end, and then Simmons and Vosic at jack?
Yes, with the caveat of, let me pull up my roster real quick. I think we will see Smith Orogbo probably as like a Sam when they play 4-3 or 3 when they play base personnel with 4 linebackers, like a jack and a Sam. I think we'll see Orogbo in those settings as a Sam. And I think we'll see Richard Wesley some, because I don't think there's like a lot of point in redshirting that dude.
I agree. And I think financially it doesn't make sense to redshirt him either with our new philosophy on getting the most out of highly paid players.
I don't necessarily love that philosophy, but I get it.
Yeah, it's just it was a clear change this year. Basically, if we paid you a lot and you didn't do anything last year, you transferred out. And I think those guys too, they're trying to get them on 3-year NFL windows. I think clearly the development window has shrunk for the highest paid players, but also makes sense because those highest paid players generally are better early. That's why they got paid. But we don't
seem to be getting ideal development anyway. It's not like so like Clemson used to be notorious for like redshirting anybody and everyone they could.
Yeah.
With some exceptions. Like they started a 5-star nose tackle in 2018 when they won the title. Dexter Lawrence? Am I mixing up names? Anyway, they would redshirt guys all the time because they had an outstanding strength and conditioning program that would like just transform guys if they could just take a year of his freshmen to focus on their body. I think that is, especially with like teams like Indiana building their teams from 4th and 5th and 6th year dudes that have been lifting and training and developing and learning for like 4 or 5 years. I think it's, and you're going to play those teams in the playoffs. I wish we had a little more of a development model than a go get freakish 5 stars and play them immediately model.
Yeah, but I think there's just a financial reality too that like if they're good enough, you can get them early, you can get them happy, right? They don't get angry sitting on the bench. Also, if you can do it effectively and get them out in 3, that's one less year you have to pay someone millions of dollars. So I think the financial realities are driving this more than, of course, what's good for long-term development or players.
Oh, I mind it less when it's like a skill talent that doesn't need to be pumping iron for a year to play. And Wesley is already like thick and built and powerful. So whatever.
I think the Jack's a little different because those guys, for whatever reason, can come in a little bit earlier than, a nose or even a defensive end.
Yes. He'll be like a situational pass rusher probably this year. Still get he'll have like 2 winter lifting sessions because he was an early enrollee before he's probably counted on to be like a 2 deep or starter guy. So that's fine.
So Vosick as the Jack, as the number 2 Jack, I get that he's there in seniority. You just think because of his size that he's more of a pure pass rusher? Because I could see him being in a rotation of 3 at end because Orogbo has a great elite first step, and then you could have a number 3 as Wesley as the bright future.
Orogbo's still too small.
He is too, yeah, and that's the trick.
Orogbo is more of a Georgia 3-down Jack.
Right.
Because he's like 225.
Yeah.
If they play, if it ever becomes Orogbo's time to shine, like he's like the main featured guy on the defense, then they might play more of a Georgia deal. He could also be a Jalen Walker kind of guy where he plays a few different spots and you're like, I don't know if this guy has a natural position. But if it's 3rd down, he's freaking dominant. So he's just on the field a lot.
So we talked a little bit about Jack's.
Is it a Rogbo or a Rogbo?
I probably a Rogbo. The West African names generally have that sound to it. What do you want from Jack in a non-traditional sense? So not 4 down, not 3 down. What are other ways you can use Colin Simmons besides dropping? I'm just leading you right into passing situations where he could even be off ball.
Oh, they put him anywhere.
Yeah.
If it's like 2nd and 11 or better, like 3rd and 7, then like Texas fans will remember Georgia used to put Michael Williams up and down the defensive line. And then they'd like run something where he'd be like 1-on-1 and it'd be like, well, he's just as the nose or he's just a tackle. But it's like, no, now he's 1-on-1 with a guard.
Right. And
maybe the outside guy is taking a wide angle. So the tackle is out of the picture. And then like a linebacker is crossing the center's face. So he's out of the picture. And now it's your guard 1-on-1 with Michael Williams with some space to go left or right. And you're cooked, right? Muschamp will do that a lot. He's going to do that. We had heard in spring, Eric reported in one of his spring practice tidbits that Umeozulu was playing a lot as a 3-technique tackle in those settings. Simmons, I think, you're not going to do that. You're not going to put him. You're not going to Michael Williams or Umeozulu him.
You can Jalen Walker him though.
You'll Jalen Walker him. You'll put him on the edge at Jack. You'll put him at one of these like money or Mike linebacker spots, but you'll walk him right up to the line of scrimmage.
Yeah.
And so he's like right up across from a guard standing up, but then they don't know if he's going to like just come at them or if he's going to like loop or stunt.
We saw some devastating ways to do that I can't remember what Pac Film study that was, the double mug series or video or something, but
yeah,
man, some of that stuff is absolutely unstoppable. Yeah, so you can see them in a lot of different ways.
Some of that stuff you can fire a guy into a spot where the only way the offense is going to pick him up is if the guard executes a trade where they go like this way and then they turn around and pick him up. When you're like, if that's Colin Simmons, that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Or it's like the running back has to get over and stop him, and you're like,
Correct.
If it's Colin Simmons, that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Muschamp had this amazing quote about Sergio Kindle before 2009, where he was like, they're going to need there's something like they're going to need a radar to figure out where he is and where he's coming from because we're going to move him all over the place. And they caused teams all kinds of problems just by put Kindle at edge. They drop him out into coverage sometimes and fire the nickel. They put him at like linebacker wherever and like have him rush, or they'd have him at linebacker and then have him like loop back out and rush from the edge. And teams were like always like terrified of where Sergio Kindle would be. But then Sam Acho and Lamar Houston were each approaching like 10 sacks that year. Because teams were so worried about like where's Kindle that Acho and Houston were just like running amok.
That's where it's like, can Biles benefit from this paranoia? Can our other pass rushers benefit? Can our other end benefit from this paranoia? Because if they're stepping away from Simmons and you run right into the arms of Lance Jackson, who I think is going to have a phenomenal year and really break out. We're very lucky to have Jackson and Simmons. The only thing Jackson does need to get better at is containment. In the all-22, he would sometimes get out of his spot and not seal the edge. That was a problem kind of defense-wide. That we were having trouble kind of sealing the edge, but I imagine Muschamp will not take kindly to seeing that in practice, and it should get solved. And I don't have notes for Colin Simmons because he kind of does what he wants out there, and it works 95% of the time.
Yeah, I think some of those that you're talking about, like the end and the linebacker, would need to like gap exchange.
Yep.
And like one guy would do it and the other wouldn't.
Yep.
So
we had soft edges last year. They were constantly getting to the boundary on us. Does Tyler Atkinson get in this year? Yeah, I think situationally.
Yeah, I think he is in the spring. I would say he was one of the less natural read and react linebackers. Like Cummings was amazing. It's a lot to learn, but he looked so much more fluid and natural out there and confident than I would have expected. And Okpala was surprisingly natural as like an actual inside linebacker. And Atkinson looked the least sure of where he was supposed to fit in the defense and like which gap was he supposed to be primary on and where he needed to be if X, Y, and Z happened. But when he's like point and shoot on a blitz, then Biles is the only guy on the team that plays linebacker that's like that's like comparable.
Does it feel like early Anthony Hill to you?
No.
And what? I mean, that was Anthony Hill. He didn't know where the hell he was supposed to be, and he would just.
Yeah, but Hill was to me always like he was sudden in a kind of surprising way.
Yeah, he does close on guys remarkably fast.
But he's like a little more wait and see. Like Atkinson looks like he doesn't want to wait and see. He just wants to go. If he's not running, he doesn't know what he's doing. Hill was very happy to wait and see, and maybe never see.
Yeah.
Right. Hill was.
I always think back to early Hill. Was it Wyoming where Hill just completely got out of his gap and they went for like 60 on us? I think it was Wyoming.
I think so, yeah.
So that was kind of the early one of just like, okay, he doesn't understand the gaps yet. And then we got totally punished for it.
I'm trying to think of a good
athletic upside.
Trying to think of another good comp for Hill. I don't think Texas has had very many like him.
I don't mean Hill in the most base way of it's a young athletic player that doesn't know linebacker yet.
Derek Johnson, I think, is the guy. I think Hill got some Derek Johnson comparisons. Didn't he like work with him or something? Didn't RT do like a feature on how Anthony Hill was like learning from Derek Johnson?
Seems like everyone learns from Derek Johnson. Like he trains.
Well, it was good copy.
Yeah.
Good job by RT. But Hill, I feel like, was not the same kind of line. Derek Johnson was like, he like played immediately as like a 210, 215 pound freshman because he was so fast. And he just like wrecked crap all the time, just with pure speed and relentless pursuit. Atkinson, I think that's like the model for him.
I think he gets in situationally, and I don't mean like high pressure situations like third down. I'd rather have Biles in there because he can rush and he can cover. So it's not like, I mean, on third down, bring him in. I think you'll see him, in late parts of games against bad teams, and you'll see him get brought along. But But they also will. You can't really force the issue because you have Biles. If there was a non-Biles player at will, they might try to force the issue. But I don't think you're going to be wanting to bench Biles for anybody this season.
We'll see how, like, Atkinson was not ready in the spring. He's got a whole summer and a whole fall camp. God only knows what he'll look like after that. So.
And he watches YouTube channel. The guy's in the gym like 24/7, so there's not a work ethic issue there. It's probably just picking up all the playbook. And it's different coming from being the star athlete in high school where you can kind of live off instinct versus now you have 3 jobs you're thinking about simultaneously. If X guy pulls, it's a little bit of an overload early too.
He's just got to learn not to go fast all the time.
Yeah. There was one where I paused it and I was like, all right, he needs to exchange gaps here. I doubt the young player is going to figure it out. And he did figure it out. So the one time I really keyed in on him because I thought he was going to get beat, he did a good job. So wasn't all lack of awareness there.
We'll see him, I'm sure.
Yeah. All right, before we keep going, let's hear a word from David McClellan.
Big financial decisions don't have to feel overwhelming. There's someone who can guide you every step of the way. David McClellan is a fiduciary financial advisor with Forum Financial, and he's working closely with his clients as a true financial life coach, guiding every aspect of your financial journey with expertise and care. If his name sounds familiar, that's because David was a swimmer at Texas and a member of several national championship teams. Today, he channels that same championship mindset into helping people win with their finances. David specializes in financial planning, and he's contributed numerous articles to Kiplinger on the topic of retirement tax bombs. And right now, David is offering viewers a free intro consultation to assess your financial situation. Do not miss this chance to get personalized guidance from a trusted expert. To schedule your free consult, email David at dmcclellan@forumfinancial.com, or you can call him directly at 312-933-8823. The contact info is in the description.
Do you have any pause with the defensive end room? I absolutely love what we have here.
No, only if they were playing. If we knew that they were going to major more in mint, then I'd be like, I don't think that's going to nail it, guys.
That's not ultimate maximization.
I mean, unless no, it wouldn't be ideal. If Justice Terry was awesome in the summer and the fall, and he was.
I was going to ask you, where does Carlton play in? Where does Justice Terry play in? How does this work?
Carlton is exactly the kind of guy we're talking about, like a Georgia type 3-down end.
Yeah.
Where he's currently 6'5", 279 as a freshman.
He gained so much weight in high school. It looked like a different player. It was crazy.
He is exactly that kind of guy where he has length and size, but he's still light and athletic enough where he can rush the edge or he can like shoot a B gap or something. But then if you do get hands on him, you're not just going to like ragdoll him. So right now he looks like a prototype 3-down defensive end, strong side defensive end kind of guy.
You should question when you're looking at the position. There should be questions in the room of like, do we put him at defensive tackle? And if the answer is still no, then that's like your 3-down end, because you're going to get the end athleticism of a tackle, but a lot of the power of a tackle.
You know when Elko first came to A&M as a defensive coordinator with Jimbo, they would play a dude at defensive end that was, I would say, even more of the sturdy run defender type. And then they would play the more disruptive guy as the 3 technique. And they would both look, they had DeMarvin Leal as the end and like Matabuki as the tackle. And Leal was like longer and bigger than Matabuki. Matabuki was the one that played 3 technique because he was a little more explosive upfield. And Leal, they moved him to 3 tech the next year. But the year they were really good, when they were like 9-1 or whatever in COVID year, they played Leal as a strong side end. And he would kind of like 2 gap the B and C gap. And A&M was amazing with that setup. Carlton could be like that, but at 6'5", 279 as a freshman, I mean, he could also be 6'5", 320 as a senior
I was
player.
going to say he could turn into a nose without he's gaining weight year after
Yeah,
year.
so I don't know. I haven't had a good look at him.
He's exciting. People have said good things about him. And that weight gain was crazy. He went to Temple.
Yeah.
And that was wild. Ryan Nelson states, I said when Terry was recruited, yes, he was a 5-star like Simmons, but don't expect the same thing. Edge can play early and DTs need some time. Also, Simmons played at the highest level of high school.
Yeah.
It was like Taquan Graham.
They're both from Temple too.
Mm-hmm. Terry also got hurt, so that kind of dinged it up too. Was it a deep dive where we watched that play of Terry versus A&M?
Yeah,
and he totally destroyed the offensive line. So I mean, he's there, but that injury set him back. That's for sure. But it's weird because it's like I would expect to say his name more confidently out of position, and it's because we have a lot of other good players, but he's in that tweener realm. He's been hurt. He's young. It's like trying to figure out how to deploy him in a concrete manner.
He's the X factor for this season. And I got to think that Muschamp is looking at him and he's saying, Lamar Houston, you're going to be a 3 technique. I'm going to put you at nose at times, and I'm going to let you run through the A gap. I think that's Terry's destination. I don't know when we'll see it. We should get at least one amazing year of it. Nice to get a year and a half. Maybe turn it on in time for the final stretch of the season and the postseason. Just see what you can do.
Yeah. Do something in a playoff run, and then we have one more year of you. But yeah, we definitely want to maximize. That injury was just sucked for that timeline with him. Let's double back here.
I don't think he played single A high school ball. I don't think that's right. I watched some of his high school ball.
He freaked me out because there's those pictures of him in 8th grade looking like a fully grown bodybuilder. And so my first thought, I was like, oh, dude, he's maxed out developmentally. Like if you're that big in 8th grade, it's like the kid that gets tall, but that was not the case. Luckily he was able. But it freaks me out when I see him at that size, that young, because it's like, well, they just have the growth spurt. We had this kid in like Pee Wee ball that was like 6'3". He shot up before all of us. We were like, this guy's going to be D1 in the future. And he wasn't even 6'3". I think he was probably 6 foot. And we were like, this guy's an NBA player because we were all short kids. And then he never grew past that, couldn't do stuff on the varsity, none of that. But I remember that stuck out to me as like the early height boom can backfire.
That's you see that with some amigos at times.
Mm-hmm.
They'll like shoot up to like their full size early in life.
Early and then stick.
Let's stick there.
Doubling back here, Demo and Hill. Obvious frames are very different, but both elite closing speed and athletes, I'd add at the linebacker position, and had a tendency to get caught in the wash sometimes.
No, I don't like that.
I'm okay with it. I think I think the words are factual. They had elite closing speeds. They were elite athletes, and they did have a tendency to get caught in the wash. I can't disagree with that.
That's like almost everyone that Texas tries to get at linebacker.
But that's kind of, I know. But that's kind of that's a point for Tyler Atkinson. It's like there's something to that. They're going for the height of athleticism there.
I could name like 30 linebackers that Texas has taken in the last 20 years that you could say elite closing speed and athletes, but have a tendency to get caught in the wash. That's like almost the freaking guy that they recruit is that.
I know, which is weird. But that's why that's why it makes sense for kind of he's comping to Atkinson is like it's that type, right? It's not never the bruiser.
This is Demo.
What?
This is Demo. I feel like Hill doesn't have easy comps. I think that the dude that they had in the middle in 2005 played like next to Derek Johnson in 2004, and then he played in the middle in 2005. I feel like that's the closest kind of body type and style I remember to Anthony Hill. And that guy was not the same caliber of athlete at all. What was that guy's name? Verify I'm a human. Yes. Okay. Aaron Harris.
Tyler being able to blitz, Ryan Nelson states. Tyler being able to blitz and hunt is where he will be at his best. I want to see him next to Biles on third down blitz packages like Georgia ran with CJ Allen and Cole last year.
Yeah, I mean, maybe. They have too many pass rushers for everyone to get their shine this year. But they still have Brad Spence. Mm-hmm. People are forgetting. They have Wesley and Umeozulu and Vosick and Simmons that are all worthy pass rushers. Some of these.
What is it? Is it dime rabbits? What is our put every pass rusher on the field?
Probably that.
Nickel rabbits or whatever. I wonder who would even get in that situation, and how good is Ty Anthony Smith at it?
Dime, I bet. Yeah, Ty Anthony Smith. It also, here's another thing is that it's easy to think, oh, the best pass rush is to put the fastest dudes on the field together, right? But actually, your best pass rush is to put your most experienced and skilled pass rushers on the field together. The guys that know how to time the blitzes, the guys that know how to sequence their blitz paths so that they occupy offensive players. If you know how to execute the blitz package at a high level, then you'll get people running free.
It's unstoppable. Like at the highest level on third down, you cannot stop it.
That's what you want. And then the dude that's running free, it doesn't matter if he's 4.4. That's better than if he's 4.7. But if he's running free, and he's only running free if it's the 4.7 guy instead of the 4.4 guy, that's better.
And running free through the A gap.
Yes.
Yeah. So I gotta find the video, but the one we did on those third down packages, and A&M had some of them. There's just no answer for it. Me and you were sitting there, we're trying to solve it, and the answer was don't get in 3rd and 8 versus teams that run that. That's the answer. Or get it out in 2 seconds. But we do have a frustrating amount of talent to where you can't even pin down exactly the smartest plan of action. That's a good problem to have, by the way. With all these great pass rushers and still worried about Garden Center. Yep. It exists, and we don't know. I just don't see what Hill got caught on in the washer. What are you looking at? Are you saying Hill into Atkinson, or are you talking about Anthony Hill?
I think it's a joke.
The humor is beyond me here.
Like a washing machine?
Yeah, but I thought he just meant washer, using it as a term of getting caught in the wash.
I think it means
right over my head if it's a joke.
I mean, JW, you can clarify if you like.
Yeah, just type humor or non-humor, and then we can proceed from there. Any final thoughts here, Ian, on defensive ends, personnel, play type, any of that stuff? I feel like we can do a totally separate episode just on blitz paths and blitz packages.
Yeah, we've already done that basically.
It's the off season. We can do it twice.
The other thing is the sort of the 2-gap, 1-gap stuff that we've gone over with Pack, the Jimmy Pony. I think the YouTube video is maybe named for the Jimmy Pony stunts. Is that right?
I don't remember. We have 16 episodes.
If you want to play, so the way PK did it was he would have big, sturdy 2-gappers inside, and that's how he would make the numbers work. Where if the other team's spreading you out and then running power down the middle, how do you make sure that you don't give up easy passes on the perimeter, but you still have enough guys in the middle to stop downhill run game? And PK's answer was I'm going to put our biggest, baddest dude at 3 technique and put him in the way. And I'm going to put just big, thick monsters inside all the time. Right. And Muschamp, that's George's method too. But Muschamp is a little more 4-downy, I think, in his approach. And Muschamp will often do stuff that's in between just shooting gaps and bringing down a safety, and then 2-gapping which is stuff like 2-gap, 1-gap. So like if this defensive end were on an outside shade of the tackle in this diagram, then on a run to him, he would engage the tackle, peek at the running back's path, and then disengage off the blocker and fit the gap that he sees the running back aiming towards. And then when the running back gets there, it's like either crap, it's too late, and now I'm smothered in the embrace of Lance Jackson, or it's shoot, now I got to bounce this outside. And then now the linebackers and the star and the safeties are running you down after initially minding their coverage assignment if it's an RPO.
I was going to say the RPO, right? When we say 4 down, that's the biggest weapon that's been integrated. Do you just go into 3 down if they keep doing it too much, or just all the little tweaks and answers?
Yeah, I've written about this like a million times. I call it the 4 down RPO math problem, which is that you just run out of guys if they create good run pass conflict. And then the one solution to that is the Jimmy Pony stuff, where it's like you tell them to play 2 gaps, but you only play 1 gap at a time, and you just delay and stall the offense. And I just saw that joke by sarcasm. It derailed me. It's like the old school way of defending the option, because the RPO is basically the option. And an old school way of defending the option was the term Paul was using when we argued about it for like 2 hours. Feather the option.
Yeah.
It's like create delay, and you make the quarterback hesitate on who gets the ball on the option. The Jimmy Pony stunts, 2-gap, 1-gap stuff does that against RPOs, where you're creating delay in the quarterback by having outside guys sit on passes, and you're creating delay and hesitation for the running back by changing the presentation of where the open gaps are. And then without that timing, if the RPO loses its conflict if you can defend it in piecemeal.
Correct. You can just make a decision. If you're just like nickel, be slow and sit in the window, then it's a give. So one way to solve the option is to force the option one way. All right. I wanted to ask you about some Sorsby stuff.
Oh,
you've had a lot of fun with it. I've had a lot of fun with it. It was an enjoyable experience. It was genuinely funny. And ultimately, they did all the reputation harm while losing Sorsby. So just overall, very funny lose-lose for them. But what are your thoughts with Sorsby deciding to go supplemental?
I have very little thoughts on Sorsby himself. I wish him the best in his life. I don't think it's going to work out very well in football because he's just not an NFL quarterback. Like, the best thing in the world for him was this new NIL era where an aged, experienced dual threat could go collect several $1 million to like just give up his body for 1 year and let McGuire run him 20 times in every big game to try to chase glory for West Texas. What did Tom Brady call him? Call him a glorified community college, glorified junior college, and then all up in smoke because of his own lack of discipline. So that's sad for him. I hope he figures that out. For Texas Tech, hilarious stuff.
I was
Imagine if we made an editorial decision to, like, I don't know, say we published something and people were like, y'all shouldn't be publishing things like that. That's not your purview. And we're like, no. We're totally within our rights. And then we did 2 things. First, we had Andre the lawyer go out and put out a super aggressive statement that's like, if you have a problem with this, you'll find me in court. And then simultaneously, we all got together at what's that bar in Austin where we always do our stuff?
Oh, yeah, I can't remember. After spring game.
Yeah, that's terrible that I'm forgetting the name of this.
Yeah.
Whatever. So we all meet, or no better, like in a conference room. And then Eric leads us all in a scripted discussion when we talk about doing what's best for journalism and doing what's best for the Inside Texas readers, and then doing what's best. And then the next day, On 3 is like, we don't like that y'all are doing this. We're going to do something about it. And then ESPN and Fox Sports and all the big media conglomerates are like, this is garbage. We're going to make sure we never relink an Inside Texas post ever again. And then we just totally back down.
Yeah. After all the reputation harm, 100%.
For us, that would be the worst experience of our lives.
Yep.
But for everybody on the outside looking in, maybe even some of our devoted fans, it'd be hilarious. It'd be hilarious. Especially the video. It's like cuts to Connor, and now Connor puts on an affected face, and he's like, and then there's
starts with nonsense altruism that's thinly veiled for self-gain. A lot of people were, like really upset about it, and they were harping like the actual seriousness of it. Me and you were just genuinely having a great time with all of this because it was either going to happen or it wasn't going to happen. But to me, it's like, dude, Tech had to go you have to go full heel to back down at the last second. It's like, take it to court, go federal, whatever. But to me, it's like, you had to try to get Sorsby on the field. You cannot back, even though you're dead wrong, you could not back out at that point. And they did.
They should have been a little more nakedly truthful about it. I think that would have done better.
Yeah.
Done like a Trump and been like, like sometimes Trump is like, one time Trump like criticized the heck out of some other president for like some legislative process. And then the guy's like, well, how come you did the same thing? You did the same thing when you were president, and now you think it's like the worst thing that's ever happened. What's changed? And he's like, well, I'm not the president anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
And everyone just laughs. Everyone just laughs because that's what they should have done. That would have been way better.
Because everyone knew the reality of it. It's like, look, you paid the player. You knew that quarterback was the limiter on your team. Like, everybody knew why you were doing it. And then the argument would become, well, other teams would do it. Doesn't matter. It's you that's doing it. So they just failed. Paul said it yesterday. They just they were wrong at every turn, remarkably wrong. And you could tell that they're used to, in their mind, they are the little guy, the blue collar oil field worker. A&M plays this cute role too sometimes, even though they're not little. But they were not used to being in the fire and having criticism, and they totally wilted under it. They just weren't ready for that moment.
It's all Cody Campbell thinking like it's all new money. And he's like, look, every problem has a price tag.
Yep.
And if I find the right price tag and leverage point, I can solve any problem through sheer will. Yep. And it's like,
and I can backroom deal with power players on secret phone calls to get anything solved.
That's not actually how the world works. There's like there's an amazing chimp study deal that I heard from like some old Jordan Peterson lecture where it was like the chimp tribes that are ruled by like a domineering, violent chimp that just like kills anybody that opposes him have like crazy turnover and instability. And what usually happens is they end up landing on a chimp that is like more political and knows how to like soothe egos and keep everybody in the tent together, or whatever chimps.
I had a producer mentor in college, and they asked, they're like, what your job? He did a bunch of big movies. He's like, my job is massaging egos, worth millions, done huge movies. He said his job is literally just to go around and make people feel good and safe. And he's like, that's how you run a good movie set.
It's kind of like that Rick Rubin quote that you see like go around on reels where they're like, what do you get paid for if you don't know anything about music? And he's like, my taste and my confidence in expressing how I feel.
Yeah.
But then it's like, that's actually insanely valuable.
Well, we also make fun of them, but it's like, there's no question on how many hits, like a band's totally turn around when they go and hang out with them. So you can't deny the results. Something's working.
Yeah. That dude did Johnny Cash's Hurt cover. Like who would have?
He's done everything. It's insane.
Hilarious stuff. Campbell, new money. He thinks it works this way, but it actually works this way. He seems like that seems like kind of a, I don't know if affable is the right word. He seems to have like a little bit of self-awareness and humor. I don't, if he didn't destroy himself with this, then I think maybe Tech will bounce back.
I thought he played a good game. There were people that legitimately were like, Cody Campbell's trying to save the sport. Now I knew that
That's gone.
You
That's
knew,
ruined.
yeah, but we knew that he was playing. It was the altruism nonsense. It's Sam Bankman-Fried. So playing that game, and people fell for it because a lot of teams are not in the quote unquote possible super league, so they're automatically going to side with it. But it was nice to just see, hey, look, exactly whenever self-interest met head to head, good for the game. What lane did he go with? And it was self-interest. But he's effectively the owner of Texas Tech.
Yes,
it's what like I know he's on the board of regents, but he's like sending out letters to the alumni from Cody Campbell, not even like vague statements from the board, like from Cody Campbell to
he
all
has some kind of position, right? Didn't they give him some?
Yeah, he's like board of regents. He actually has a real spot, but it's just strange that himself, it's not a board letter. It is Cody Campbell talking to all Texas Tech alumni.
See, Texas sort of has that in LTIF.
Yeah, but L-Type's a real political mover. Like he's seasoned. He knows when to show up and when to not show up. Like L-Type, Cody should have called L-Type. He'd teach him how to get things done, but keep the public on your side and all of that. He was too new to it.
Campbell, this may be such a grievous blunder that his whole thing is like up in smoke.
So here's my next question. What's next for Tech? Are they able to convert? Because their schedule doesn't change. Their schedule still sucks. Hammond, I need to watch more of him. He looked awesome versus Utah. You remember that game? He was making some good throws, but he's been hurt. So I think Hammond has real upside. Are they able to convert this into the whole world hates us and it's a benefit? Or is this showing cracks of wilting under the pressure of actually having expectations now opposed to being, upset guys?
I think it almost helps them that they don't have this distraction anymore. I think them carrying this in the season, their team is dudes that are like Texas dudes that are like, man, I just came here to play football. Or like, I came out here because they offered $1 million more than anybody else.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't, for some of them, like the relative obscurity of playing out in West Texas and having that focus was probably good. So then just to be in a constant media circus around the quarterback, I think that actually would have destroyed their season.
My Tech friends, you can't go off of Twitter because Twitter is not reality. Twitter selects for the dumbest and hype takes. So on Twitter, you just hear Tech fans defending it. But my friends actually went to Tech. None of them liked this situation. They were embarrassed by it. So I think at some point they realized this is not a good look and it's not worth fighting. I'm not friends with the board of regents, but I'm talking about, my actual friends there actually did not like the situation. Now they would, if you asked them publicly, they would present a united front, but they knew that this.
I think the board of regents were swayed by the Big Ten and the SEC moving towards, we are never going to play y'all in anything because of this, and turning them into pariahs. Because ultimately, what does Cody Campbell want?
Inclusion.
And so he did not realize that this is like, he really didn't understand that this is different than like putting like violent criminals on your team.
Right.
Which is unfortunately pretty widespread, right?
Right.
He thought that this was of the same caliber and he was just doing what everybody else is doing. He was just driving maybe like 2 miles an hour faster than everybody else. He did not realize that he had violated like a major code. And
core pillar.
I don't know from here if like he'll be forgiven for that now that they've backed down, or if it's too late.
And it hurts him politically because he was able to play the everyman good guy, and then the politicians in Washington will attach themselves to that, right? We've already seen that. But now that his stock is down, politicians, once your stock goes down and you're not a popular face anymore, so that part too is that he hurt his standing and maneuverability in Washington because he's not the hero anymore that they can sell as standing by.
Yeah. I was very encouraged that the sport was able to rally, even getting the Big 12 to act. Like I tweeted a while ago, I was like, the Big 12 should find something in the bylaws and then like sanction or suspend Tech themselves. Like you don't need the big bad NCAA to do it now that they're like completely toothless.
I wanted that legal challenge to go through for the precedent because they went federal with it. And the ruling is basically, do conferences have power? Because we know the NCAA doesn't. So the next question would be, do conferences have power? Now, if they would have lost, then it would have been horrible. But if they would have gone through federally and basically the president became, okay, the conferences can't police themselves, now at least someone has control. So I was a little bummed that they backed off immediately there because I wanted legally for that to be the case. That way the SEC can make moves, the Big Ten can make moves, all of that stuff. So that part
I guess a little better and a little funnier for Tech if they lost that. But I think this almost accomplishes all of that anyway, because the conferences did police this and they did step in and take care of it.
Yeah.
And so like it's encouraging to see football have like a red line. And then for somebody to take ownership over the actual health of the sport finally.
And to truly fight it, not finger wagging like the AG gets involved, misplays that, and then they go federal. So it was a real fight by them too. It wasn't just pure talking points and stuff like that, which at first I was worried about because they had Yormark statements and he was like, we're having deep discussions, you know, all the buzzwords that we're not doing anything. For them to actually stand up was nice. That was actually props to the Big 12 there.
Yes, major props to Big 12. Notice though, when the statement came out, it did not come from Yormark.
I didn't pay attention who it came from.
It was like a Big 12 conglomerate. We have the Big 12, or so I don't know what it was, but it was like pinned by like one of the.
And it was written entirely by a lawyer.
Yeah, it was not Yormark. Yormark wants nothing. He does not want that smoke, I think.
Yeah, but hey, good job on them, man. And it was heartening. It's like, oh, okay, there might be rules in this sport.
One other really funny thing on this, and we can wrap it up, is I saw this text, one of the like stupid amplified Tech accounts on Twitter that we've all been saying, where you see like the dumbest take ever in defensive Tech, and then you see the cactus and you understand what's going on.
Exactly.
I saw one of those where this guy was like, fine, this conference, they only care about us when we start winning, and now all of a sudden they're jealous and they're trying to curb our style. Let's just leave the conference.
Yeah, I've heard that already. Everything they've accused Texas of, I'm like, hey, that isn't true. But it's like, you see how it feels whenever you are more effective and then everyone just hates on you. Now you earn the hell out of it. Ours can be a little bit hammed up, but it's like, you see, when you get to the top of the conference, you're going to take more heat, and they already want to leave at year one of experiencing that.
They're like, how dare you? We got
every year, twice a year. Twice a year, there was a made up Texas is the bad guy story that we had to deal with.
Yeah. So, but I'm like, guys, what conference? You're looking at the Pac-12.
Yeah, you think SEC and Big Ten would be after that? Be like, welcome to our There's no way you're going to.
They're like, we'll go independent like Notre Dame.
Okay.
With
300,000 viewers during games.
You're gonna need Temu to start up a streaming service. If you think it's gonna.
There's gonna be the Texas Tech app coming out real soon, dude. Man, that was that. Oh man, they misplayed it at every step. That was absolutely wonderful. Everyone head over to Inside Texas for the summer sale. Half off the Ultimate Fan Bundle, IT, On3, and Rivals. Link in the description down below. Everyone stay tuned in for the rest of the shows coming today. Also, watch a little World Cup. I think we got Portugal up here next, Ian. You got any World Cup in, man? I've been watching damn near every game. We can talk soccer now because it's the end of the show and y'all can't get mad at me.
Same. We introduced our boys to Messi last night.
Yeah. I know Eric's son had the Messi jersey and got to see a hat trick.
We really talked him up. I was like, because my son's always peppering me with sports questions, like who's the best goalie in soccer? And I'm like, I have no idea. No idea.
Cape Verde A goalie is the best goalie in soccer.
He's like, who's the best player? And I'm like, well, he's too old now, but people have said that Messi is the best. And he's like, well, my friends say Ronaldo. And I was like, well, your friends are 10.
Well, because all of his friends watch I Show Speed, and that's his favorite player.
Yeah, I know. They're 10. They don't know.
But they'll see Ronaldo here in a second.
So anyway, we talked to Messi and we tuned it in and we got a hat trick. So that was.
He's terrifying, dude.
Anytime I'm made to look right is a great time for me.
He just lurks like that attacking midfield. He just hangs out. He doesn't even move a lot. They just work and get the ball to him. As soon as he gets the ball, it's like, yeah, he's a scary player, dude.
He's
I
good
really like the World Cup. Hopefully, U.S. gets the win. Our Australia, when you watch their game, they were counterattacking really well. Their goals just came off like mistake score, and that can be a problem for the U.S. So I'm actually more nervous for Australia than I thought. Turkey's not as good as I thought. But Australia, I feel like, should be a little bit more nerve-wracking if they're able to counter like that effectively. This is my tier 1 soccer knowledge, the most base version of it that exists. But I've been having a lot of fun with the World Cup. I think soccer has converted me. I might land it into favorite sport number 4. It might move up the rankings.
I'll tell you what, UFC Freedom 250 or whatever they called that.
Yeah.
That was amazing.
It was an awesome card, dude. I actually fell asleep before Gaethje. I fell asleep before Gaethje. I missed Gaethje, but all the other fights were awesome.
Did you catch up and watch it later?
I only saw highlights of him just demolishing him. But
that was one of the best fights ever.
It was an awesome card, dude. Like it was
watch the whole fight.
The whole card, man. Like it was a lot of striking. So yeah, it actually was a really fun situation. All right, the guys, you got some soccer, you got a little bit of UFC in. Don't just say we just know football, guys. You're getting a lot here. Stay tuned in for the rest of the shows. See you later, y'all.